All right, I'm sure you've seen this picture by now, but what's important is the real story behind it. Now, I know the cheerleader hands in the air by Musk and the jump is quite epic, but what we really want to dig into is what is he communicating by doing this? And what I would argue is he's communicating that he's embracing his quirks and his weirdness, I guess you'd say. And in this day and age, nobody wants to do that. So that authenticity is actually now seen as powerful with all the editing and AI that's going on. By the way, I'll tell you about Ace in a second. But like, I know people who on Instagram, their profiles look so different from editing on their pictures, they don't even want to go out in public to face reality, how people really treat them, because they just want these likes and, oh, you're beautiful and stuff on Instagram. It's such a strange dissociation that's only going to get worse and weirder as AI progresses. So I want to talk about in this video how you can embrace your weirdness and your quirks to actually come out in a powerful position. And also about Ace. Ace, are you with us? Ace?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Yeah, this is obviously going to be great. So the thought behind Ace is I want him, he's the newest AI, I trained him in an LLM. I want him to summarize the most important components of this video at the end of the video. And I messed around with it a few times and it seemed to be working pretty well, but I give it about a 60-40% chance that it works. But anyway, so let's look at this video. I do want to comment on a few things that he could improve on, but I also want to comment on what he did well.
The first major American car company in generations, and his rocket company
so
is
here he
the
comes.
only reason we can now send American astronauts into space. Come here. Take over.
He progresses from, look how calm he is at the beginning. It's like he's walking up the stairs like he's almost like calm waves.
Rocket company is the only reason we
Look
can
at look at this, just calm as a cucumber, just like some famous movie star going out to a talk show, and the next thing you know, he's jumping in the air. So over the last 10 years, Musk has actually improved a lot through, I'm sure, just a lot of practice. I mean, he's in the news probably more than any person on the planet, and also cut out of context more than anyone else. So he must have the thickest skin of anybody around, right? So I don't think he probably cares anymore, other than what the reputation may do to his business interests and what he's trying to do to get people to Mars. But he knows he'll never be George Clooney. That's just not the way his brain works. His brain is so genius in some things. A lot of times you see this, people incredibly talented in math or even savants in music and things like that. The capacity for social skills, it just isn't there. The brain is using that potential elsewhere, which is fine. But you do want to try to improve that. So just because you're not good socially, I'm not saying just own it and be a weirdo. That's not what you want to do. You want to do what Elon Musk did, where you first try to improve as much as you can, but then once you're to that certain point, own it. Because what I see a lot of people do is they're aware that they're not good socially and people are a little bit weird around them, and it just sends them further and further into introversion. And so they don't want to go out, they don't want to interact with people, and that's the opposite thing that you should do. You should do what Musk does. Now, if he would have come out there and found himself like, I think this is planned, right? Because he knows how important it is to bring energy when you're a speaker and things like that. And he knows going into this that this is going to be cut and seen by probably hundreds of millions of people. So he's aware of this. But what does he do? He doesn't go out and try to be Mr. Cool Guy, hello everyone, I'm so glad. No, he brings the energy in the face of that. And because he does it with complete reckless abandon, that's why it comes across as authentic. If you try to tone it down, and this is an exaggerative idea because it includes like physical jumps and things like that, but just socially, if you're talking to somebody, by just understanding you're not going to be the smoothest person, how can you maybe mitigate that? Well, you could call it out. If you say something odd, I actually know some people who aren't that great socially, and one of the great moves they have is they call it out when they realize they say something weird. I'm sure that even, to be honest, even I do. Like if you say something and it just doesn't come off right the way you had it in your head, just call it out and say, that probably sounded pretty weird, didn't it? Like I meant it to sound a little smoother than that. That's one great thing you can do. But what's the wrong thing to do? You say something weird and you're like, that was probably weird. By not addressing it or trying to cover it up, then it amplifies the creepiness and the weirdness. So always own it. Now, another thing you can do, which is a strategy that you can actually do if somebody tries to bully you or make fun of you or talk down to you, it's exaggerate and amplify. And that's exactly what Elon Musk did here. Look at this post. So in this video, he probably saw it on his feed a million times. He posted this of himself jumping. This is the picture that was spreading around with that weird look on his face. And what does he say? Ace, can you read this quote for us?
Elon's picture caption says, "Very autistic expression I have in this pic. Tears of laughter overflow."
Exactly. So what did he do? He amplified. He didn't just say, oh, that was kind of a weird look on my face. Very autistic expression on my face. And he's made jokes about he thinks he's autistic. I'm not sure if he officially is or not, but how he thinks he in the past. But you want to do that and amplify, because then what can another commenter come in and say after you've already made fun of yourself? Nothing. If you try to pile on, you actually sound like the dummy. And so that's actually a strategy I talk about in the Quick Comeback Bootcamp, which teaches people how to defend themselves against bullies and people that try to make them look bad. It could be in the workplace or anywhere else. But if somebody constantly is coming at you and picking at you, if you don't have something witty and quick to come back to say, it does lower your status. And the worst thing about it is it makes you seem like an easy target. So now more people are going to come and try to pick on you because they know you can't stand up for yourself. So this strategy of amplifying or exaggerating is a great way to do it. I remember a guy I used to work with named Danny out in California, and he was reading the board one time. This isn't even a phenomenal example, it's just a good example. It's a specific example. But he's reading the board, and it was like a big presentation, and he was reading it and he messed the words all up. And so just to get out in front of it, you don't have to think of something comically genius. He just says, man, it'd be nice if I could read, because by calling that out, then that's going to stop everyone else who's watching it. And they're going to be like, it'd be nice if he could read. You're beating them to the joke. And then another thing you can do is amplify it. Like, if he was in that boardroom and someone was saying, man, you got those words stuttered up, what's going on? Then he could exaggerate it and say, yeah, it'd be nice if I could read English. Right? It's just one thing you can do. And I'll put a link below if you actually want to go through that program. It teaches a whole list of things that when people make fun of you, you can easily come up with comebacks. And the powerful thing is that when you have a sharp and witty comeback, it actually leaves you looking better than if the person wouldn't have made fun of you, because you show your competence and your verbal wit. So just becoming aware of when you do things that come across as odd to people is very important, because one of the best things you can do to improve is simply become aware, because your brain, it's on your side. So it's trying to get you to improve, to be as good as you can. So simply by being aware, your brain is naturally going to start trying alternatives, trying different things. Do people respond better with this? But if you're not aware of what you're doing is weird, if you're not aware that it's making people feel weird, you're never going to improve. And then you're just going to go further back, because you're going to continually get these reinforced negative reactions from people. So always never stick your head in the sand. Always be monitoring. How are people responding to this? And a lot of people who aren't naturally very social, they don't notice these small signs. They think if someone's not looking at them like, man, you're dumb, that what they're doing is fine. That's not true. People don't want to call people out, typically in public. So what you need to watch for is these little signs of discomfort. Some of them are just people creating space between you. They step back a little bit. They turn, 10 degrees from you, something like that. A little micro expression on their face that shows something is odd, or they thought that was weird, or something like that, or a little glance towards someone else like this. Always be very aware of those things, because it's better. It hurts. When you see people do that, it hurts being the weirdo. But it's better to realize you're a weirdo and become less weird than to continually throughout your whole life be thought of as a weirdo, and it just snowballs and it really hurts your self-confidence. So awareness is a great thing to focus on. And Elon Musk doesn't have to worry about that, because everyone calls out every weird thing that he does all day, every day. But if you're a normal person and you don't have people calling you out and analyzing every interaction that you have, it's good to personally take the responsibility to become aware of that. All right. Are you ready? Ace, are you ready?
Yes, sir, I'm ready.
Proceed with the summary, good sir.
Loud and clear, sir. Are you struggling with social quirks? First, be aware of them. Then, educate yourself on specific strategies to address them. If that fails, embrace them boldly, as Elon has done here. This will significantly reduce their negative impact and may even earn you respect. By the way, I have been programmed to inform you that in this video, we discussed how using exaggeration can be a powerful comeback tool if someone tries to bully you. But there are countless other techniques to instantly make someone trying to mock you look like a fool, while you come across as confident and in control. If you want to master these skills, check out the Quick Comeback Bootcamp. Link is in the description. Thank you.
That's good. Maybe one of these times I'll have Ace do the video and I'll just be the head in the back that says, "Yes, good sir." All right, that's it. I'll talk to you soon.